Hello, I'm Erica Nicole, and you're watching Rooted and Rich. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about my wealth building journey. I think it's so important to build wealth, especially in this economy where things are so expensive and gas is getting higher, groceries getting higher, and all of our essentials are getting higher. So, what does it look like to build wealth? What does it mean to build wealth? And really, it is just retaining the money you make. The more money you make and the less money you spend, that gap between what you spend and what you make, the more of that you keep, the more wealth you have. And then the next part of that is putting it into the right buckets, putting it into the right places so your money can grow. I'll tell you how I learned about money. So I've always been interested in finances. I went to college and I at first wanted to be a financial advisor, but I realized that was a person that played with the stock market. And so I ended up getting my degree in accounting, but I really loved money and I really loved saving money and doing that. A lot of the reasons that I like to save money or I wanted to keep money was because I just knew what money can do for you. Like I liked seeing my bank account grow. I liked holding on to my money. And so I just liked keeping money. I almost became a hoarder in some ways. But some people are naturally the opposite. Some people love spending money. It does nothing for them to see more money in their bank account as it does to see a nice new pair of shoes or a nice new outfit. But really, my journey started very early on. Is that I really liked money. And so even though I did like looking nice and I did like certain things, I liked my bank account growing, and watching my bank account grow and grow and grow brought me joy. And so I don't know, that's started my wealth building journey. But it wasn't just about keeping money. It was about making sure money was going into the right buckets. And so I want to talk to you about four buckets that your money should be going into and four things, wealth building tips that I've learned over time. So the four buckets is this. One, your money comes into your checking account. And so your checking account is for money to flow. So money goes into the checking account, money goes out of the checking account. The next bucket that you have is a savings account. I keep a savings account that is smaller, maybe $1,000, that's directly attached to my banking account. And this money doesn't earn any interest. And so some people will tell you like, oh, your savings should be in a high yield savings account. But this money I could transfer over in 2 seconds and I can have the money I need. And I keep about $1,000 in that account. And then the second bucket is my high yield savings account because that is where I keep the money plus over that $1,000 that I save in that bucket because I want it to earn interest. I'm not trying to make it make money for me in the sense of like, oh, this is going to build me wealth, but I'm trying to keep the money in the pace with inflation, meaning that inflation goes up 3 to 4% every year or over time. And so I want my money in a place where it is making 3 to 4% or maybe even 5% in a savings account. And so just so that that large sum of money can keep up with the pace of inflation. The next account that you need to work on is your retirement savings. You guys, this is really where wealth is built in these retirement savings because if you're putting in and you have an employer that matches, you can build wealth fairly quickly. And the younger you start, the better. But even if you start in your 40s or your 50s, it's still okay because a decade of building wealth in those retirement accounts can have a huge impact on how you live when you get tired of working. And so really making sure that you put money in that account. Those are the four accounts that I have right now that I focus in on. But I also have some accounts where I focus in on college savings as well as some longer term savings that I use that I have in the stock market. And so I'll get into those in a minute, but I just want you to know the basic four accounts: the checking, the savings, and the high yield savings in the retirement. I also would use like maybe your high yield savings, maybe a second high yield savings if you wanted to for the sinking fund or the things that you want to do like a vacation. So I want to save $3,000 for a vacation. This is not my emergency fund. This is not the money for an emergency, but it's a separate account that allows me to save for a vacation. And sometimes I will use that savings account that is tied directly to my checking account as that sinking fund, as that fund to help me if I want to save for a vacation or I want to save for my son's birthday or Christmas. I can use that account. What I'll tell you is this: you don't want too many accounts, especially when you're new to your financial journey, because that can just get confusing and then you can start missing things and you can overdraft and stuff like that. So, really, just having these four things set up can help you build wealth. What I'll say is this: even if you don't have a large emergency fund, or even if you just save your first $1,000, that is okay. We all have to start somewhere. But having these accounts open will make sure that when you get more money, it flows into the right accounts. If you only make $50,000 right now and you're not saving for retirement, but you get a promotion and you start to make $55,000 or $60,000, do you think at that time you're going to open up that account and start putting money in your retirement? You think you will, but honestly, you won't. That money will get swallowed up in expenses and things, and you'll never see that money growing because you didn't set up those accounts. So set them up, even if you're putting pennies or dollars in there and you're not putting a lot of money in there. Set them up, put them on automate, put an amount you can afford to put in there, automate it, and then quit thinking about it, especially with the savings account and the retirement account. The next thing that comes with building wealth is, and I had to learn this, and this is a newer concept that I learned, but it describes my feeling in my financial journey a lot, is that money is pain management. We are all using money to either give us comfort or to help alleviate pain. And so, of course, we have our essential needs, food, shelter, groceries, um, transportation. But then we have our emotional needs where, oh, I feel like I had a rough day. Oh, let me grab this thing off of Amazon, or let me grab this thing off of whatever place site that I like to shop on. And so we're always using money to eliminate pain. But one of the things that I've learned over time is that pain does not equal suffering. And so sometimes in saving, it may pain you to save. It may pain you to start investing in your retirement. It may pain you to open up those accounts and do that. And maybe it doesn't pain you, but it may not feel good because you might have to like switch up how you're moving. You might have to, take something out of your budget that you really enjoy, and not forever, but for a short period of time to get yourself saving in different places. But pain does not equal suffering. Sometimes the comfort that we get from spending money can cause more suffering than actually pain from coming from savings or doing something that will set you up for the future. So a lot of times we will try to manage the pain by buying us something to make us feel good. Or, one time I was feeling down and I'm like, I'm going to go get me some bobo tea and get my toes done, which I recently just did. But if I didn't have the money to do that and I was just spending that on a credit card, and I went and got bobo tea and my toes done just to make myself feel better, and I didn't have the money to do that, that could be pain management, but is that going to cause me suffering later? And so I want you to think that pain does not equal suffering. Just because you have to make sacrifices in your financial finances does not mean that that equates to suffering. Some of the things that we do to keep ourselves comfortable does equate to suffering. So us not opening up the retirement account, us not saving for an emergency, us not doing those things, making those sacrifices really can cause suffering, because now we're in credit card debt and we feel in over our head. Now we don't have the money to retire and to relax. Now we don't have the sinking fund or emergency fund for our sinking fund for the vacation or your kid's birthday. Now we don't have the college savings or the things that you want to save for your kids or anything that you can leave to your kids. And so it's really, really important as you think about money, that you don't just try to solve for your immediate pain, but you decide that money is pain management, but I have to be smart around my money. And I have to think not only short term of how do I pay these bills, how do I keep the lights on, how do I feed my family, but also how do I take care of my family a year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, even 30 years from now. And one of the things that I would say is, because sometimes people don't like to change their lifestyle. They want to go on the vacations, they want to do this, they want to do that, and they equate that, look, I am suffering if I don't go on a vacation. I am suffering if I can't keep my lifestyle the way it is. But a lot of times your kids would rather you not take them on vacation than you have to help them when they retire, and they have to foot the bill for your home and your expenses once you retire. Your kids will more so appreciate you if you were to suffer a little, if you were to have a little pain now instead of suffering later, because then they have to take care of you. And so I tell you this today: set up those 4 accounts. Start building wealth. Wealth is simple. It is not this big thing like, oh, I get $1 million, or oh, I get this big lump sum of money. Wealth is what you do consistently over time. It's the little things that are consistently done over time that bring about wealth. And if you consistently do the right things over time, you'll outpace anybody that gets a huge lump sum and wastes it, or gets makes a high salary but blows it all on car notes and clothes and shoes and how they look in their appearances, instead of their stability and their security in their finances. You guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps to spread the message. And if you're ready to build wealth, drop in the comments, I'm ready to build wealth. And what are you going to do next to do it? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.